Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations with Gofaone. I'm Gofaone Modise, and today I sit down with the one and only Naseem Lahri as we talk about leading the billion-dollar industry, that is the diamond industry, and the potential threat of lab-grown diamonds and what she views leadership as. And so today is a long time coming, and I'm super excited to have her with me. Hi, Naseem.
Hi, how are you?
Geeking out? Are you kidding me? Do I look calm? I'm not. I'm stressed.
Oh, wow.
So this has been a long time coming, but I mean, I've always admired who you are, what you stand for, and your voice for women and leadership, and I guess a strong sense of African leadership, so to speak. But I'd like us to delve into your journey. Who is Naseem? And I know I'm probably tired of this question, but for my sake. Do you tell us what is it that makes you wake up in the morning? How did you get to the position that you are now?
Okay, thank you so much for the introduction, and oh goodness, I think it's a mutual feeling.
2 years later.
Yeah, 2 years down the line, but a mutual feeling. I think for me, who's Naseem? Let me start off with my journey first before and you'll see who Naseem is through the journey. I think for me in the mining industry, never saw myself in the mining industry, just by the way. When I started off as an aspiring doctor.
Sure.
By the way, doctor. Well, I think that was my father's dream, just by the way. So started off in pre-entry science at UB and decided, actually it was, I'm not too sure if it was that dissecting of the frog or what exactly it was, but there was no way I was going to touch a frog again. So yeah, I think at that point I realized, no, medicine is not for me. And I think I did it for the wrong reasons, specifically because my dad asked me. Well, he didn't ask, he forced me in that direction. And I did go in the direction because I thought it was the right one at the time. And that was the first bold decision I made in my life. So that's already telling you who Naseem is.
Yeah.
Making those bold decisions at a very young age, going to your dad and telling him, Dad, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
I need to look for a different direction. And accounting was always, I don't know why accounting, but I always had this really nice feeling when I saw people in a suit and a briefcase. May have been lawyers, I don't know. But for some odd reason, I thought it was an accountant. And so that's how I chose accounting. There was no science behind it, but loved numbers. Mathematics was my thing. So felt commerce as well, economics. So that was the right place to be. Fast forward to me graduating, got to Deloitte, did my stint in Deloitte, very mundane. Again, not doing this for 2 years again. After 2 years, it was done. And then decided to go into private sector. In private sector as I worked in insurance, I think. Yeah, insurance, Marsh. That also wasn't my thing. And lucky for me, in that time, I got married and had one child already. I had my son. And I had an opportunity to go to Palapi because my husband...
No! I'm a Palapi girl!
Is it?
You've got to be kidding me!
Oh, wow, okay.
That is insane. Okay. Wow.
I come from Mushupa and there was no way I was going to do another Mushupa again. But because of my family requirements, being married, my husband and I took a pledge that we'd never be apart. So moved with the husband. Not a move that I typically would do, but because we had this pledge going, and you know what, career-wise, I was still at the beginning of my career. He was obviously somewhere far in his career, and we looked at it, and it made business sense,
right,
to go with him. So went to Palapi and get to Palapi, and as we transitioned to Palapi, I get an offer. Well, I got headhunted actually for an opportunity at a mine, Murupule coal mine, and in fact at the time it was called Murupule Colliery, and okay, let's go try this. And did the interview, did really well at the interview. That when I was leaving Palapi at the time, they called saying, can you come back? I'm like, no, but I'm on my way to Gabs. No, I'm coming back. No, come and see the place. And we decided, okay, we'll see the place. And long story short, we thought, okay, because we have almost 1 year olds, we'll go and live in a village. I wasn't too keen on it. I came from Mushupa, guys. Like, why do you want to go back to a Mushupa?
Yeah.
When I saw the lights of Gabs, imagine Gabs lights and whatever it is. So started working in the coal mine, and honestly, never looked back.
Sure.
2 years at the coal mine again. a decision, a family decision came up that we're moving back to Gabs, and also with my son's schooling, having my second kid now, thinking a little to the future. And we then get a call from my husband saying he's got a promotion and he's moving to Gabs. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting here thinking, oh, okay, Gab's not a bad idea. Didn't want to be here in the first place. Yeah. Love mining, but it's always different in a mining environment. Every day is different. And that's who I am. I'm very dynamic. So I want to live in this very dynamic world. Wasn't happy about the move, but as I told the guys at Murupuli I was leaving, the guy said, no, you can't leave the group. We're taking you to diamonds.
Sure.
And I'm like, diamonds, wow. So, long story, I have a history with diamonds. Yeah. I'm going to pause there. Yeah. And I'll carry on with my career. But at that point, when they said diamonds, I was like, woo! Sparkle, sparkle, sparkle.
The glitz and the glam.
And the glitz and glam come from my mom.
Yeah.
My mom had this ring that I loved. I literally loved. Every time I saw it, I said to her, Mom, when you die, I want the ring. And she's like, what?
When you die.
Yeah. I don't think she was impressed with that phrase, but I mean, I love the ring. I could only get it when she was no longer around, right? Yeah. So that was the only inheritance I wanted from her, was her diamond ring. So diamonds came a long way. And, every time my mom moved her hands,
it glistened, scintillated.
It did something.
Yeah.
So I think that was the history with diamonds for me. And then coming back to my career, when they said, you're going to work at Debswana, didn't know anything about Debswana, imagine. All my life in Botswana, didn't know a lot about Debswana. Actually, didn't know a lot about diamonds either. Yeah. Because that's the environment we came from. From a career perspective, nobody actually said anything about mining. Unless you were brought up in a mining town, you knew about it. But if you weren't like me, you didn't know much about it. So come to Debswana and, move to Gabs with my family again. Just note the move. Now I'm highly pregnant. I'm 8 months. Yeah, 7 months pregnant actually. Moving to Debswana and again, trying to tell my employer, guys, you're taking me on. But in 1 month's time, I'm leaving.
Sure.
To have my baby. But Debswana had very progressive policies at the time, and they probably still do. Mm-hmm. And I was told, it's okay. We know you're pregnant. Come across. Wow. Okay. That was something. I go off and have my baby and I come back. So actually, when I get to Debswana, I'm just about to have my baby, which is my second born, my daughter. And she says she was the right decision. My son wasn't the right decision.
Oh my.
So that just tells you her personality. But I think for her, I think this story resonates with her because this actually molds my sort of stint in the industry and also the whole female empowerment thing.
Sure.
And I start working at Debswana in the sales department. And the first day in the department, I'm looking at the diamond sales. And then I understand the impact of what diamonds do for Botswana, just the communities and just the whole country, everything just sort of, I connected the dots at that point. Sure. It was just unbelievable. It was such a profound moment for me. And it was at that point, first day after I come back from maternity leave, first day I realized, you know what? My career here, I'm going to become the first MD of Debswana. First female MD, of Debswana. And that's when my dream started. Prior to that, was never a dream. But that's when my dream started. And fast forward 4 years, still a dream. And now I'm realizing, this is not happening.
Yeah.
Every time I went to a career development panel, I hate to say this, I had a whole host of bald men in the room. Bald, white, grey men in the room. I almost said white, but they were grey. It was a diverse group of men, but very challenging discussions.
Sure.
Because I come from the admin field, meaning chartered accountancy. You don't fit in a technical space. That was 4 years. Fast forward 10 years down the line, I realized I need to jump ship.
Sure.
And my journey at Debswana was amazing. They made me who I am now. They were part of their journey. And, when I sat there, on my 9th year in my career development panel, and I said to myself, and I moved around a lot and in good moves, right? Good trajectories in my career. Everything was great. But I got to a point where this was...
It wasn't great anymore.
Yeah, it wasn't great anymore. And they talk about a glass ceiling. It's so true.
Yeah.
You hit the ceiling. You don't see it, but you hit it. And I realized, you know what? If these guys are not part of my dream, then I don't belong here.
How many women think that way? I think, especially when it comes to their career, because there is some level of comfort that you have, and then you do experience that glass ceiling, but you don't want to call that because you're comfortable. And so, what then made you say it's time for me to pivot? There's more that I want out there.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm allowed to use this word in your podcast, but I felt like I was prostituted. And the reason I say that is because every time I wanted to leave, I got given a nice bonus. A retention bonus.
Yeah.
And it kept me comfort. I was comfortable. And imagine 10 years in an organization. Actually, 2 at Murupule, 10 at Debswana. So it's 12 years in literally the same organization. It's actually the life of mine of some minds, right?
Yeah.
It could have been that for Lucara too, right? And you're right. It's a comfort zone that you're in. I'm at a time in my life where I have a bond. I have a family. I'm trying to raise a family. I have kids at school. I've got this huge mortgage that I'm trying to pay off. I can't jump, right? But those are the decisions you make. And, I have a very progressive husband as well. So went to him and said to him, this is not working for me. And I think he was a bit disturbed, I won't lie. You're leaving Debswana, employer of choice? Now, employer of choice. No, I mean, that's the reality. I mean, it's the reality. Sure. I've been there. I was literally called the prodigal child of Debswana at one point, right? Sure. And when I left, people were shocked.
Yeah.
You'd never expect, I mean, 10 years down the line at Debswana, you're there forever. 10 years in my life, I'm not getting what I want. Yes, I was challenged. I was always challenged. But when I got to a point where, everybody said, oh, ask Naseem. Ask Naseem for this. And I thought to myself, and this is when you do an introspection and say, if people are asking you for information, you're here for too long. And not, it's good to be asked for information, but when people are depending on you the way they do, there needs to be a serious introspection done. And then I started actively looking for a job. And again, luckily for me, October 2012, I made my decision that I'm not staying here anymore. November, I get called into an interview. December, I get a response. And I'm like, wow. And it was Lucara, right, as chief finance officer. I was finance manager at corporate in Debswana. And look, it was almost the same role. Coming here was, I can say, maybe a drop in my salary a little, and also responsibility coming from a big organization, coming to an organization where they were literally in debt. They started their operation in April 2012. Sure. I'm starting March 2013, and literally, I mean, when I told the people at Debswana I'm leaving, you're going to the competitor. I'm like, guys, competitor. And the reason it was a competitor is because they recovered a blue stone in December, and that's when Lucara started like understanding who they were. And I jumped ship at that point, and a serious leap of faith. That's the second bold decision I made, was to leave Debswana.
Sure.
Literally the second bold decision that I made. It was a very difficult decision. I won't lie, I cried. I cried a lot. Yeah, you don't think I cry, but I do. And it was because there was a level of leaving home.
Yeah.
I left home to come to a strange place. And honestly, I don't look back. Came to Lucara, spoke to the progressive men in this organization at the time, and they saw my dream. Fast forward 5 years later, we have a change in CEO, and goodness. She calls me the night before. I mean, she officially is now the CEO. Yeah. And she calls me I think it was a Thursday night, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was, yeah. And she calls me and says to me, I think I want you to be the managing director of Lucara, Botswana. Oh. My dream for a very long time, let's call it 17 years.
Yeah.
And imposter syndrome sets in. Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Can I do the job? And when she said it, I sort of dropped the phone. I literally did. I dropped the phone. I actually switched it off, and I said, I can't do this. I really can't. And imagine, all my life, I'm working towards this.
This very goal.
And there were times where I didn't, you focus on your dream, but there's times where you realize this is not going to happen. And then you've got to refocus. And it's all about focus and making sure that the impossible is possible. And the possibility is there, and you've got to consistently tell yourself that this is not a dream, it's going to happen. And the minute it happens, you ask yourself, it was I don't know what moment it was, but it was silent.
Yeah.
And I can feel the silence right now in the room. It's like a penny could drop, a pin could drop, and I could hear it.
Sure.
And I remember even where I was sitting, the fireplace was there, and so my husband says to me, what happened? I'm like, my new boss just offered me managing director of Lucara, Botswana. So I hope you said yes. I'm like, no, I dropped the phone. Just call her back and say yes. And I'm like, oh my God. And this is me. I'm actually nervous right now as I speak to you. And I actually sit down and I'm like, I don't think I'm ready for this job. He's like, you are.
Yeah.
This is a man telling me I'm ready for a job that he doesn't even know I'm ready for.
Sure.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Sure.
He's outside. He's seen me go through this. And he says, this is what you want. And I'm like, okay. Wusa moment. And I call her back. Oh, sorry, Ira. I think there was a problem with the line. I couldn't hear you. Sorry. What were you saying? So I asked her to repeat what she said, because I'm in my mind. I don't know if I've heard it. And she says, no, I'm thinking about actually letting you lead the organization. So I said, are you thinking about it, or are you actually offering me the job? She says, no, I'm offering you the job. I'm actually offering you the job. And I'm like, okay, I think I'll do this. And I said it with, I wasn't convincing, I didn't convince myself. There was no conviction in that, okay. But because my husband sort of is standing behind me and saying, yes, say, take the job. And it took my husband to tell me that I'm good enough. So I think for me, Naseem, strong woman, but get offered the job and you say, imposter syndrome sets in, right? And I think this happens to, and I'm going to be very specific, this happens to a lot of women. Ask a man about that. He won't drop the line. He'll hear you the first time and say, of course I can do this job.
In fact, he'd actually say, I feel like you should offer me this job because I'd be good
at it. It's long coming kind of thing. And I think for me, that was obviously my dream coming true.
Yeah.
But I asked myself several times after that, when I said yes, that whole night I couldn't sleep. Not because I didn't want the job, but how am I going to do this? That was always the question. But let's call it Monday morning that week after. I tell you, I was ready for the job.
Love it.
I was ready, psyched myself up, and let me tell you, I think I've done a marvelous job since then.
I think so too.
I've paved the way for a lot of women. And you know what was so exciting about the job at that time? Firstly, it comes with a lot of responsibility, big responsibility, because 12 years prior to that, I knew whatever decision I make here has an impact on communities, families, the whole nation at large. Reputational risk is big. So there's a lot of that. It comes with a big responsibility. Yes, small diamond operation in country, small, 300,000 to 400,000 carats compared to Debswana, but the impact is huge.
Sure.
And very quickly in the position, I learned that we're not small anymore.
Sure.
We're extracting the largest diamonds in the world. We were making history. We had more women coming to the forefront than ever before. So it gave me a lot of great opportunities. And, as I sit here, there's a lot that I've changed for women in the industry. And I can say at Lucara, Botswana, maternity is now 6 months. I believe the law is going to change now from 12 to 14 weeks very soon. We've done 6 months, 100% pay for women. We've also created an opportunity for men. We never had paternity leave here. We now have since maybe 2019, I think.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that we've done differently. And it's given me the opportunity to change the 17 years that it took me to something closer.
Sure.
to what is realistic for a woman to get to the helm, right? So for us, it's not about numbers. It's not about quotas. It's just about inherently getting people to the job. And because people have seen this dream, it's made it possible for them. So I always believe, for all those that have heard no before, it's now a yes. I've always heard that. It's now a yes. And anything is possible for us. We've created an environment. And look, it was always there, but it just didn't come. And I always say to the guys, I was always invited to the party, but never the dance floor. And now I'm on the dance floor and I'm dancing with the rest.
I love it. At this point, might as well close the podcast. You said it all. But speaking on impact and responsibility, when you held that, what is it, 2,488 carats diamond, beyond the weight of the diamond itself, what was the weight of responsibility and making a mark in history?
Okay. So I'll talk a bit about Lesedi because that was the first large stone that we recovered before I get to Motswedi.
Yes.
And Lesedi, if I'm actually shivering. You put the diamond in your hand and you shiver.
Oh my.
Because it's history in the making. And that was the first, okay? The first large stone. Automatically you think this is impactful for the country as a whole.
Yeah.
For Lucara. And then very quickly we realized that, the decisions that you make, and you've always known that, but when you carry this large stone in your hands, you realize that the impact is even bigger than you've ever expected, right? Fast forward to Motswedi. Literally, let's call it, I'm going to round it up, 497 grams, like 500 grams in your hands. It's like a block of butter in your hands. This is the lady talking now, block of butter, baking, cooking, whatever it is that you want to say. A block of butter in your hands, and to realize the impact the stone will have for the communities that you are serving. You have a profound sense of responsibility in this industry, and it comes in with those large stones as well. You see it. Botswana has been known for diamonds.
Yeah.
We are now known for the large diamonds, and it's because of Lucara, Botswana.
What does that mean, though, for the everyday Motswana? Because despite, and like you said in the beginning, you didn't know anything about Debswana. And unfortunately, the truth of the matter is you have so many people who still don't know what the impact of diamonds is. We hear about it, and you still have people that have never seen a diamond before, etc. And so when we say the impact of especially discovering the largest diamond in the world, what does that mean for Botswana, and why is it important for us to understand that?
Okay, so the first thing that people need to understand, and we've always been in diamonds, and diamonds have brought a lot to Botswana. They've brought roads, they've brought hospitals. Development in Botswana is predominantly because of the diamonds.
Sure.
And we've done it really well. But what we haven't done really well, and I'll come back to the large stone, is branding the Botswana diamonds.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Botswana diamonds, even at the time that I became MD, when I was promoting Botswana diamonds in 2018. 2018.
Sure. Sorry, sir.
People do not know what a Botswana, they don't even know where Botswana is.
Yeah.
This is 2018. Maybe it's better now. Right? I don't know. But anyways, Botswana was just part of Africa.
Sure.
Africa is one country, So we had to go out and explain to people what a Botswana diamond is, what Botswana diamonds do. And my cliche line is, this is a Botswana stone, right? And I'd keep saying to the guys that if you buy a Botswana diamond, you empower a child, a family, a community, and a nation. And that is the story that we've been taking to people, right? So people didn't understand firstly what Botswana was, what the Botswana diamond did for, what does for people of Botswana, or Botswana in general, and the country. So you've got to brand it, right? And in branding, there's a lot that needs to come through. And now, you'll talk, I'm sure we'll talk about synthetics soon. But, branding the Botswana diamond is very important, and making people understand what the diamond does for Botswana. And that comes back to buying power right now. 60% of the population that buy luxury goods right now, millennials, Gen Z. Gen Z, very, very keen on provenance and what the luxury does for the communities.
The story, yeah.
The story. They buy into the story. So for us now, and in as much as diamonds have done really well for us as Botswana, I don't think we can tell the same story. We don't brand the diamond. And this is where we've lacked as a country. This is what we really need to do. And this is why the story of the large diamond and what it does is very, very important for Botswana and the world. Botswana, especially for the reason that we need to understand what the diamonds do, and for the world to understand that these are not conflict diamonds. What do they do for the layman on the street? We are all products of these diamonds. Absolutely every single one of us. And I think that is so important for the world to understand. And I always say to people that, we haven't done well on the marketing and the branding of the Botswana diamond. We're getting better. And this is where Lucara is very pivotal in this story. Because people talk about the small stones. It's not impactful. The 2488 Motswedi.
Sure.
I don't know if you saw the video. The initial video of that drop. That large stone drop. Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah.
And people understood what it meant, for what that diamond meant for the country. The story was told just in that, via, it was a TikTok, I think it went, it went viral like within seconds.
Yeah.
And I'll cite a story for you. I typically tell my kids, please don't tell people where I work, what I do from a security perspective. So one of his friends came to him, one of my son's friends came to him and said, is this your mom? Right? And he's all the way in the UK and he says, okay, but just keep this on the down low. It is my mom. He says, dude, there's no way of keeping this on the down low. I had people from Egypt calling me, people that knew me. Was that you? I had people from China, from New Zealand, Australia. So just the awareness of what these diamonds do, and the largest diamond in the world recovered from a place like Botswana is putting us on the map.
Yeah.
It's assisting with the branding of the diamond. And also with that, we then tell the story of what diamonds do for Botswana.
Sure.
And you know what? Again, I'll admit to what we don't do very well. Yes, not a lot of Botswana have seen diamonds, but we're getting better in that space. I think with Lucara coming on board, not a lot of people knew about large diamonds. We started introducing it to Botswana. So that has been done very well so far.
Yeah.
We're now showcasing diamonds at certain events so people can see rough diamonds. Not so much polished, but we're getting better. We've got polishers in country that hopefully will take out the polished to the public as well. And Botswana will be able to see. What we try to do is through our competitions and also the corporate social investment activities that we do, we get people to the mine to come and see the mine, to also have a look at the diamonds, and hopefully you're going to see something soon. And they'll be very excited. We'll do the whole drop as well.
Oh my.
So you can have the whole experience of what that diamond means.
Yeah.
But understand, when I drop that diamond in your hand, the income from that diamond empowers everyone in country.
And what then do you say to the critique that comes to say, it's all well and good that you're discovering all the biggest diamonds in the world and so on, but if people aren't buying diamonds, the diamond industry isn't performing as well. Does it really matter?
Of course it matters. It'll always matter. For a Motswana, it always matters. And that's why I say for producing countries, we need to take a concerted effort, a deliberate effort to talk about what our diamonds do. Yeah. America, 50% of our market is gone. Literally gone. 1 to 5 carat rough, gone.
Sure.
Right? But that's okay. There's a market for synthetics. There's a market for natural. Right? There are people that want natural diamonds. I talk about China. China is a market that has the second largest number of billionaires in the world. Right? Let's shift the market. It's not as easy as I'm saying it is.
Yeah.
But we need to shift the market. We need to understand who we want to sell our diamonds to. Specifically because we understand what this revenue does for the country. Yes, the country needs to diversify. I hear that. But through the diamonds, we can diversify. There's a whole value chain, downstream activities that we need to participate as Botswana. It's important that Botswana participate. We haven't participated in that market. Right? You talk about the Paris Fashion Week. And I talk about this all the time. Diamonds are showcased at the Paris Fashion Week. But nobody can talk about Botswana diamonds there. But yet 70% of those diamonds are Botswana diamonds. They belong to Botswana.
Sure.
The income belongs to Botswana. But nobody knows about it. Right? So we need to make sure that we have the downstream activities in country. Absolutely every Motswana should participate if they can, if that's what they're looking at. Design. I mean, let's break down this fashion week. Let's not even talk about Paris fashion, any fashion week.
Yeah.
Right? You break it down. You've got your influencers there. You've got your designers there. You've got your makeup artists there. There's a whole value chain that is linked to that. Why aren't we participating in that? We have diamonds here. Why do our diamonds need to leave the country not processed?
And while you're on that, let's talk about beneficiation of diamonds. What's taking us so long? What's going on here?
Yeah, it's taken long.
Too long.
I agree with you. I can't even not agree with you there. It's taken too long. I think as the private sector and government, we need to work really hard at it. And I think policies need to change, firstly. And secondly, we need to make sure that we empower Botswana. You know, a lot of people say there aren't any skills here. And I could typically agree with that. There aren't any skills. But in order to bridge that gap, what do we need to do? I think personally, the concept was great. I think it came around, I think ODC, when did they come about? I think about 2012, 2013. So the government were going in the right direction. Somewhere down the line, we lost the ball. But it's not about government as well. It's about the private sector also empowering, right? So we as private sector and downstream, we have to participate in that. As Lucara, Botswana, we are actually. And that's also something that we did and made a concerted effort on. We participate through an arrangement that we have with HB. And again, coming back to Naseem Lahri, it was bought from us at $53.1 million US.
Gee, whiskers.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the number. Yeah, that's the number. Valued.
Say that again.
$53.1 million US. Okay. Yeah. But that was participation in RAF. We lost that entire value 3 times more in terms of polished. Okay. So that's why initially when we got into the arrangement with HB, it was about making sure that the country participates in polished. It's the only company locally that pays a 10% royalty on the finished product, which is polished. HB is currently set up here. They don't polish the large stones yet in Botswana, but I believe that they're coming through to do that soon because they're developing the skill. They have, I think, about 20 Botswana. I'll be corrected there. I may be wrong, but 20 or more than 20 young Botswana that are working with robotics. So they bringing in technology. They're using the technology to polish. And that's why I think Botswana need to participate. If we don't have the skill of, and no lie, diamonds is a very niche industry.
It is.
Polishing of diamonds has been passed on from generation to generation. It's family businesses that do well in this space. But if we introduce technology, then our youngsters can participate. If the robots do the critical stuff and then we get involved in the other sort of strategic positioning of the polished and so on and so forth, that helps. So I think, yes, we would, because, and again, we need to understand this industry has been built over centuries. Okay? We are participating probably at the tail end now, right? But in order to participate, how do we participate? Innovation, it's technology, taking that risk on technology to empower Botswana. So it's upskilling what typically you'd see a man on a turnstile polishing. Now you're saying, robot, you do this. Motswana, we do this. And it's a young Motswana at the end of the thing, at the end of the polish. Again, it's not about polished. There's diamond jewelry that you could, we've got jewelry artisans here in Botswana. We get them to participate in that value chain. And then you go to design, clothing, you know. There's a whole industry that can be formed around that. We haven't gotten there yet. Coming back to your initial thing, I think we're 20 years too late. 20 years too late.
Yeah.
But we can catch up. Again, coming to how do we participate? We've lost synthetics. We've lost a market to synthetics, but it's okay.
You're the first person I actually ever heard talk about lab-grown diamonds in such a, they're there, and so it's like, I'm a bit worried about it.
No, I'm not. And you know why? Because there are people that want to buy natural diamonds. They don't want fakes. I always talk about...
But are they fake?
Of course they are.
No, the thing is, when we look at the way in which it's been branded, it's to say that, hey, lab-grown diamonds are here. And when you look at the makeup of a natural diamond and a lab-grown diamonds, it's the same, it constitutes of the same stuff. Just buy lab-grown, it's 10 times cheaper, you're better off. In fact, it democratizes luxury. And now everyone has access to luxury.
What has my ring done? for somebody in Botswana.
Sure.
It's done a lot. It's fed a child. It's fed a village. Coming back to what the diamond industry does for Botswana. Okay? And the country has done extremely well.
Sure.
In taking the funds from diamonds and bringing it back to the country, to the people of the country. I talked about 60% of the population that spend on luxury. It's the millennials, Gen Z. They spend money on a diamond with purpose. Is a synthetic with purpose? Note, I don't use the word you're using.
I noticed.
Yeah, and I'm not going to, because to me it's a synthetic.
Sure.
There's a place for everything. Okay. When I started working, I couldn't afford a new car. I bought a second-hand car. Okay. I then transitioned to Toyota. Okay. And I own a BMW because that's where I want to be. If I wanted to own a Porsche, I'd work towards that dream. I talked about a 17-year dream, getting to the helm. That's also a dream. Some people closer to home, I love bags and shoes, right? I guess which woman doesn't? Anyway, that's a different discussion. If I couldn't afford a Louis Vuitton bag, okay, I'd probably buy a knockoff. Sure. I'd go to Woolworths and buy a bag that looks similar. But now I can afford a Louis Vuitton bag. I'm going to buy a Louis Vuitton bag. And it's about the experience, right? Coming back to the generation that we are marketing to. Do you think they want to buy a lab grown? Who benefits from it? Okay, let's break it down. Okay, let's break it down for you. You want to know exactly why I'm not disturbed by the synthetic? If you go to a factory, okay, where these things are produced, who is the person that benefits the most? The owner of the factory. Okay? Some of these factories are run in China. Child labor. There's a whole host of unethical behavior that occurs in those factories. Okay? So do you want to participate in that? No. Especially if you compare that synthetic to this natural diamond here. And there's a market for the natural diamond. And that's where it belongs. It belongs to the market that wants to empower human beings, that wants to empower communities and countries. And producing countries need to understand that that is where they need to market their natural diamonds. It's a collective. It's not a Naseem alone. It's a Naseem. It's the government. It's a producing country that need to market their diamonds. And they need to market them to the markets that actually want to purchase those diamonds. People do not want to buy, people that can afford our diamonds do not want to buy a fake diamond. They want a natural diamond. Coming back to the Gen Z, and I'm going to repeat this many times. Coming back to Gen Z and millennials, they are the ones that are the biggest buying power right now. 60% of the luxury purchases are done by them. This is luxury. Okay? Luxury with a purpose.
I like that.
So that is important. That is why, no disrespect to the Americans. That's all they can afford. Okay? Let's move to people that can actually afford the diamonds. The natural diamonds that have a purpose, that are empowering human beings, that are empowering you and I to get to where we are. I am where I am because of a diamond. And I'm sure you can tell the same story. Every Motswana tells that story. So why is it that when we go out, we don't tell that story? As a producing country, that is fundamentally the story we should be telling. And I think for me, what's really important, I'll come back to my initial comment about I got this job and it came with a whole host of responsibilities. Every decision I make here, every second of the day, is based on how do I empower a country, the reputation of a country, sustainable development in communities. It's all about impact and sustainability. It's about now and the future. You know, we talk about diamonds. Yes, finite. But what am I doing now to make sure that my communities are sustainable going forward? And that is what we should be talking about, because we do that really well in Botswana. We don't even mince our words when we say it. And it's not just me. It's a generation prior to me. And I think it'll be a generation going forward as well. And that is what helps us diversify the economy, right? It's getting this right, going to beneficiation, ensuring the skills development is on point. You know, it's a strong sense of strategic acumen that we need to apply to this. You know, and it comes with also a very, very deep emotional commitment.
Explain that.
when I talk about deep emotional commitment, I'm talking about the fact that, when you get into positions like this, the first people you need to think about is your stakeholders. Stakeholders being, firstly, your communities, the people that work with you, the commitment to the land as well, respecting the land, ensuring that from an ESG perspective, you've done what you needed to do to make sure that that impact is sustainable. Again, coming back to your communities, your stakeholders being the government as well, making sure that your communities actually live beyond the mines. So you don't want to leave ghost towns behind. You want to make sure that you have sustainable communities beyond the mining. And that is that deep emotional commitment that you have. Because if you don't have that, then you've lost it. Again, it's about ethical mining, making sure that we have diversity in our operations and also sustainability. And I'll talk about the word sustainability is a big word.
It's a buzzword.
It's the buzzword now, but it's about making sure that it's you are understanding what is required now and also the impact in the future, right? And it's taking, when we look at this here, Lucara needs to make sure that whatever decision it makes, or any company in actual fact, in Botswana, whatever we do, reputationally, we need to preserve the reputation of the country so that the story is told better outside. Because if you don't, then the story doesn't get told well, right?
Sure.
I mean, you talk about the synthetics, child labor. That doesn't exist here. We have diversity in our workforce. We have inclusion in our workforce, right? We have everything that is going for us to market this natural diamond. And I talk about this luxury with purpose. That's exactly what it is. Everything that we do has purpose in this country. So we need to market it and take it to the right place. And then when I talk about strategic acumen, it's about making sure that, we run companies. It's not it's not these fish and chip joints that also need money. They also need profitability. We're running a strategic asset here. And this strategic asset, you look at operational efficiency, taking the risk with innovation, because operational efficiency and innovation go hand in hand, right? So it's about making sure you bring innovation to the people. We are not dealing with the same generation we were 10 years ago. The generations are evolving. Our kids are on cell phones, AI, front and center, big word as well, front and center of everything these days. Kids need to be stimulated. You need to make sure that the workplace is good for them. Some of them want to stay at home. Okay, you can't run a mine from home, but you need to find a balance, right? So these things are changing. And as they're changing, as a company, you've got to change. So innovation is very, very key. Again, how do you incorporate the social investment in your business? Because you've got to think about now and the future. It's now and future focused as well. It's talking about what am I doing now to impact the future, generational wealth. What are we doing to make sure that we impact the value chains of the mining industry without compromising the sustainability of the community or the future focus of the community? So that is big. Like, when I think about it now and talking to you, it's huge. It's a big responsibility, and it takes a lot strategically to actually manage. And I think many leaders today are faced with that.
Sure.
Because we've got to make sure that whatever we do it in a governed way, in an ethical manner, to make sure that the reputation of the company and the country is sustained.
I mean, sure, it's all. It's a lot.
It's a mouthful.
It's a mouthful, but also such an important conversation to have.
Yeah.
And I especially appreciate you talking about rewiring what luxury means, which goes beyond vanity and speaks to luxury with purpose. And that's such a beautiful campaign. I hope you tell them you came up with it with me. And I'm the one who ignites this brilliant idea. And for a country such as Botswana that's so heavily dependent on the diamond industry, with that in mind, how then do we answer the question, is a diamond really forever?
I think it is.
In what way?
I think when you're looking at it, you're looking at it from a very short-term perspective. I look at it from a long-term perspective, and the impact that it makes now to what holds in the future, right? So when I look at diamonds are forever. We are forever. Well, to a certain point. But generationally, we are forever.
Sure.
Right? So when I talk about generational income or benefit, it's all in that line of a diamond is forever. what we do now at our operations, the heritage of the operation, of the mining that we have right now, it has to be impactful for generations. We've got to look at that, the legacy that the operation has, and the heritage that it leaves behind, right? So that's why I talk about the communities and our people, very, very important. And then also from a diamond perspective, what are we doing differently? And I'll talk diamonds and even any other company from a corporate social investment perspective. What are we doing differently to make sure that there's that generational impact? And I'll talk about generational wealth as well, because if it has generational impact, it has generational wealth attached to it. So for example, if you look at, I'll talk mining now. When we look at our corporate social investment activities, people look at us and say, oh, they're going into farming. Like, why? They are miners. We've done so well in the value chain, the mining value chain. But what happens to the communities post that?
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why we've chosen food security. Lucky for us, I don't know, it was a way, I won't say luck, it was business cases and a whole lot of strategic decisions that were made where we went into farming because we want to diversify for the communities. We have farms, integrated farms now that we've put up in certain communities, looking at the business case around those communities. And we've created what they call green diamonds, right? During COVID, those farms were producing for the communities around them, right?
Yeah.
So already we've done something in the diversification perspective. Come, let's talk to beneficiation, right? We're selling polished. Yes, it hasn't come 100% here, but it started.
Yeah.
Okay, it started. So that will bring generational benefits because we have youngsters in the operation. If you go to an HB setup, they have younger people than any other factory in Botswana. It's just young kids. When I say young kids, I'm not old, but you'll feel old. You'll feel old if you go to that. You definitely will feel old because it's young kids, graduates coming into play, right? And I'm hoping this model gets taken to other operations, right, or factories, right? Again, why do our raw products have to go out of the country? We need to process them here. I'm going to use an example of the Ethiopian coffee bean. Ethiopia is the largest in Africa producing coffee. They obviously plant the beans where they are and they produce it right to the end product, the coffee beans. Fifth largest industry in the world right now from Ethiopia.
Sure.
That's the impact that they have in the world. People love Ethiopian coffee, right? African. Authentically African. Okay? Botswana. Why can't we do that?
Sure.
Right? So we need to think differently. We need to get gold refineries here. We need to process our diamonds here. When you do that, there's so many other value chains that just come up. Inherently, they will crop up and that diversity will come. But we have to change the way we think. And our kids need to think differently. It's no longer a handout. They need to work hard at it. I always use, when I talk to the young entrepreneurs here, it is hard. Don't get me wrong. It's very hard to be an entrepreneur because we don't have the population.
Sure.
But we need to think about it beyond Botswana.
Yes.
We have to look at international platforms. The most, I'm not going to say billionaires. I'll say millionaires just so that the statistics are not wrong. But they translate into billionaires. The most millionaires were created during COVID in Nigeria. Why? They were creating for their population. People started thinking online, what, blah, blah, blah. They created a whole industry online. People making makeup in the kitchens, using the pots that their moms have, that kind of thing. And now are established entities. South Africa as well. But the statistics in South Africa are not as high as Nigeria. Nigeria has a population. So obviously that'll work. But as Botswana as well, we can't think about the 2.5 million here. We've got to think bigger.
Yeah.
We've got to think international. The world is so small now with social media, with digital platforms that are here. If I want to buy something that is in the US, go onto my laptop, tap in whatever I want to, and there's many stores available to buy from. Secured online stores. That is what we should be doing here, right? So when we think about businesses, we should not be just thinking Botswana. So I believe that we as a collective, it has to be private sector, it has to be the individuals in Botswana as well. We need to work together to make a difference. And it's not just about a Lucara, it's not just about a Naseem. It's collectively we can make this work. But again, the policies in country
Absolutely.
need to support this.
Yeah. It's not a one-woman mission, hey?
No, it's not. If it was, it would have happened.
I know. And in closing, what would you say you want Naseem's legacy to be? Not just necessarily in Lucara, Botswana, but wherever your impact has been felt.
So that's a difficult but very easy question to answer. And when I look at Naseem, it's not about Lucara only. When I do anything, it's about leaving a legacy, a sustainable legacy. It's about generational wealth, and also I have young kids that need to come back to Botswana. I would love them to come back to Botswana. So whenever I make a decision, it's about how am I helping my kids stay in country and how am I helping other kids have a diverse space to play in. So for me, that's always the primary objective in my day-to-day job. And, you know, I've never worked a day in my life since I got promoted because I'm always enjoying what I'm doing. And it's because of the impact that I see in the people's lives that I actually have impact on. So that's bottom line what it is.
Absolutely beautiful. I think I should put a disclaimer. I'm not necessarily of the host, but all in all, thank you so much for exuding so much passion and intent, and a positive intent for not just the people that you work for. I think for you, it seems as though you serve. And I think it's so beautiful in the way you relay it and still remaining authentically yourself. And for me, I find that extremely inspiring. And I think, like what you said earlier, you paved the way for so many. I could stand here and say that I am one of those. I've been really inspired. I mean, even just trying to get your attention. My name is Debswana.
Do you want me to try?
Wow. I think it's waterproof makeup.
I hope so. I'm not going to test it though.
2 years ago, seeing you at Mining and Daba, and I remember just seeing you outside. And I was like, let me try and get this chick's attention. And I ran to you and I was like, hey, hello. And you're like, okay. Because you had to get an Uber to leave. And I was like, and I think perhaps I just put it out there in the universe and I manifested it. I was like, I'm not going to be on that stage.
No, you need
and I get her attention. And I was, and here we are. And here we are. And I think it's so beautiful. And there's a saying that says there's no glory in always being the first. And I think for you, you've made it so apparent that you say, yes, I'm the first Motswana woman to do 1, 2, 3, and 4, but you're not alone.
No.
You have a band of us there, and we're coming right after you. And like you said, you're leaving a beautiful legacy. Please don't cry. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
But in my very true self, I want to say thank you. Not just for your contribution to us, but to your contribution to yourself.
Thank you.
And to showing us what is on the other side of fear. And it's beautiful.
No, thank you. And can I say something to the audience?
Yes, please. The camera's right there.
So I think for me, to the audience, for me, I've always felt nothing is impossible. And it just takes focus and direction. And if you know the journey that you're getting on, that is the most important thing. The journey is important and focus. And I can tell you, I'm no different to anybody in this world. It's just that I was focused. And again, I had executive sponsorship in many cases. And that's what we're trying to do as women and also men. Progressive men are doing that. And we will give you the opportunity. We're here to pave the path.
Absolutely beautiful. And thank you all so much for watching and or listening. We'll see you next time.